Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. And also, the Pigs Playing Magic Kickstarter has launched, so make sure you check that out. The Kickstarter campaign is going to last for 30 days, and after that, the playmat will no longer be available for purchase. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Quarters studio. Welcome to the show. So, a little while back, I did some episodes on blue and black commanders in 10 seconds or less, and somehow those episodes, I'm not sure how, didn't annoy you and make you, unsubscribe from the channel and never want to listen to me again. So, yeah, because of that, here you go, I guess. Green commanders in 10 seconds or less, so let's jump into it. I'll try my best to summarize them and what they're about in that 10 seconds. Will there be some things that I miss or can't cover in that time period? Yeah, definitely. It's 10 seconds. It's not like I can just go like in-depth, full episode style on each and every single one of these. It's 10 seconds. Give me a break. So get your 10-second timers ready and let's get started. First up, there's the Zuri Renegade leader who really likes elves. He regenerates elves. He makes elves bigger. So yeah, you can just regenerate and protect and smack other people with elves. Or do you like Hydras and fighting things? Because there's Gargos Vicious Watcher, which makes your Hydra spells cost less to cast, and if anything gets targeted, Gargos gets in a fight. But Eula really knows that you are a bear fan. She's the queen among bears, and yeah, she likes getting counters and fighting things as well, so yeah, her and Gargos can get into a fist claw fight thing. Up next, there's Omnath Locus of Mana, who likes to hoard green mana. Yeah, the more mana that's in your mana pool, the bigger Omnath gets, and yeah, that mana does not go away. And then there's Marwyn the Nurturer, who, like Azuri, loves elves. Whenever elves come into play, she gets bigger, and then she can tap for more mana. Very, very elf-like things. Next up, there's Jisan the Wanderer Bard, who asks, hey, do you like really repetitive gameplay where you chain the exact same creature after creature after creature? Hooray, then I'm the commander for you! Next up, there's Sylvala Heart of the Wilds, otherwise known as Sylvala Heart of the Brokenness. She produces an absurd amount of mana and card advantage as well. Have fun. Next up, there's Goreclaw Terracalcisma, who is an actual bear, but not a bear in magic terms, and she doesn't care about bears, she cares about powerful creatures, so you gotta bear with her. And then there's Galta Primal Hunger, who is hungry for one thing, and that's power. The more power that you've got on the board, the cheaper Galta is to cast, and she's a 12/12 trample, so yeah, have fun dealing with that. Next up, we've got Azusa, Lost But Seeking, and she might be lost, but she's definitely seeking more and more lands in your hand to put them into play, because she gives you 2 additional lands each turn. Do you like elves and planeswalkers? Well, you should consider Freyalise, Llanowar's Fury, an elf planeswalker person thing. Yay! Next up, there's Titania Protector of Argoth, who wants you to sacrifice lands, and she's not really like protecting those lands, she just gets really mad but at your opponents and not you for some reason, so she makes elementals to smack them. And next up, there's Grothama All-Devouring, who's basically a loot boss. Yeah, he wants to fight everything, and then when he dies, he just drops a ton of loot that whoever killed him gets. Next up, there's Javen Nature's Herald, who likes to do things quickly. She's got Flash, she gives your green creatures Flash, but not your colorless creatures Flash, so no Eldrazi in this deck, please. And then Multani Yevmaya's Avatar cares about lands no matter where they're at. If they're in your graveyard or in play, well, I guess Multani doesn't care if they're in your hand or in your library, but pretty much anywhere. Next up, we've got Nissa Vastwood Seer, who says, hey, do you like planeswalkers and elves again, but you actually want to work to get a planeswalker? Pick me and not Freyalise. And then there's the Saya Rochi Ascendant, whose goal in life is to get a lot of lands in your hand and then peace out and turn into an enchantment that helps those lands for whatever reason. Next up, there's Set and Corrosive Protector, who's really jealous about all the popular elf commanders and is trying to make druids cool again. So yeah, tap your druids for mana, which most of them already do. And then there's the bestest boy of all time with Mau Loyal Companion, who loves pets, scratches, treats, and +1/+1 counters. Gets huge with a lot of +1/+1 counters. Next up, there's Grun the Lonely King, who likes to be alone. If you kicked him when he came in, he gets even bigger, and then when he attacks alone, you double everything and smack people for a lot. And then we've got Ronus the Indomitable, who is indomitable in Fight Club, a death touch indestructible god that, yeah, just wants to fight everything, because when it does, it's never going to lose a match. Next up, there's Reki, the History of Kamigawa, who loves history because, yeah, whenever you play a legendary spell, you draw a card. So read a good story to Reki, and he'll be happy. And then there's Rishkar Pima Renegade, who says, hey, do you like +1/+1 counters and turning all your creatures into Llanowar elves? Sweet. Pick me, please. Next up, there's a Via Pashari Sage Lifecrafter who likes to craft things, whether that's servos or constructs or, yeah, that's actually all the Sage Lifecrafter makes, those two things. And then there's Thrun the Last Troll who likes to troll your opponents. He can't be countered, he's got hexproof, and he can regenerate. So yeah, good luck dealing with Thrun. Next up, there's Kamal Fist of Kroza, who can turn lands into creatures and potentially pump creatures, but the only actual way to build this is mono green land destruction because you're welcome, everyone. And then there's Yorvo, Lord of Garenbrig, who every single time he sees someone bigger than him decides to go work out a little bit, so he gets slightly bigger, and then it happens again, and then he just works out. He works out a lot. Next up, there's Nylea Keenite, who is supposedly a hunter, but doesn't kill your creatures. She just helps you cast them and find more of them. Is that more like a ranger? I'm not sure exactly what finds creatures. And then Vorniclex, Voice of Hunger, is another one of those praetors for terrible people that do terrible things. Don't play Vorniclex. Next up, there's Joriel, Empress of Beasts, who is the ultimate gotcha commander whenever someone decides to cast a board wipe and doesn't realize that you can turn all of their lands into creatures, so have fun with that. And then there's Shashiro the Anointed, who likes snakes, makes your snakes bigger, gives you card advantage when your snakes hit, and then, yeah, snakes. Speaking of snakes, there's Sachi, Daughter of Sashiro, who actually cares more about shamans. You can tap your shaman's head green, which, yeah, that's pretty fantastic. Next up, there's Nylea, God of the Hunt, again, hunter, but doesn't hunt creatures, just gives your creatures trample and makes them bigger, so not really hunting too much. And next up, there's Questing Beast, who has keyword soup in pretty much every ability under the sun, which is great in other formats, but in Commander, not so much. And then there's Renata, Call to the Hunt, who is very devoted to green and likes to hand out +1/+1 counters to your other creatures like it's candy on Halloween. Next up, there's Patron the Orochi, who likes to untap all forests and all green creatures, but only once each turn because, yeah, if not, that would be way too easily broken and abused. And then Multani's back, but it's Multani Maro Sorcerer, who apparently doesn't care about lands, but cares about hands, and yeah, just stay away from, got Shroud, so yeah, stay away. Next up, there's Anthusa, Citizen Hero, who wants you to target her so then she can turn your lands into 2/2s for whatever reason. Maybe she wants them destroyed, I don't know. And then there's Eladamri, Lord of Leaves, who is seemingly Lord of Leaves as well as elves, giving them Forest Walk and Shroud, so I guess the elves kind of just like hide in the leaves is probably how it goes. Next up, there's Kogla the Titan Ape. Definitely not King Kong. Definitely not in a skyscraper. That's like an ice patch thing. I don't know. And then Ronus is back, but dead this time with God Eternal Ronus. And yeah, still looking for a fight. Wants to double up your creature's power and give them vigilance. So yeah, they can fight for him, I guess. Next up, Joriel's back with Joriel, Monvalia Recluse. And she doesn't care about lands anymore. She just cares about drawing cards and making cats and potentially making them bigger based off your hand. So yeah, cats. And then there's Barofist of Kroza, who has Grandeur, and Grandeur doesn't work really in Commander, except for a lot of workarounds, but play forests and pup your creatures. Next up, there's Dwynnin, Guiltleaf Dayan, and she's like the mono-white version of an elf commander because she gains you life, which, yay, not as good as the other elf commanders. And then there's Arasta of the Endless Web, or should I say Arasta of the Endless, waiting for your opponents to cast instants and sorceries so you can make tiny spiders and hope you win through attrition. Next up, there's Pelucranos, World Eater, who doesn't eat worlds, but does eat other creatures when it becomes monstrous, but then those creatures can actually eat it as well, so you gotta be careful with that. Next up, there's Sir Fair the Hengehammer, who is a bear in magic terms, but not an actual bear, but doesn't really care about bears, but cares about attacking and increasing power and toughness. And then there's Malimo, Maro Sorcerer, who cares about lands, but not apparently as much as Multani, so yeah, this is just a much worse version of Multani, so play Multani. Next up, there's Haotao, Under Physician, who wants to take creatures that are dead and then put them on top of your library so you can get them later. And then Serac the Huntcaller cares about power and haste and smacking things quickly. Next up, there's Vertiloff the Ancient, who says, hey, do you think Slimefoot is just a bit too cute to play? How about you try me and my Saproling Tribal deck? No, play Slimefoot. Slimefoot is so cute. And then there's Seki Season's Guide, who likes to get hit and then make spirits and then come back, and then get hit and then make spirits and then come back, and then get hit and make spirits and then come back. Next up, there's Malira Silvok Outcast, who really hates Infect and Wither, I guess, and -1/-1 counters in general. Next up, there's Masamara First to Live, and also first to be chump blocked by a 1/1 token because, yeah, it can get big, but doesn't have trample or any kind of evasion or whatnot. And then Dosin the Falling Leaf really hates blue players because, yeah, players can only play spells during their own turns, so sorry, blue control player, but no. Next up, there's Asao Enlightened Bushi, who is a samurai with Bushido and cares about samurai, but is the only green samurai, so have fun with changelings. And then the Metagrove Guardian cares about saplings. It can make an infinite amount of them with infinite mana. It can make them infinitely big, but it's infinitely less cute than Slimefoot, so play Slimefoot, because cuteness. Next up, there's Kesa, who gives all green creatures you control +1/+1. It's an anthem for 5 mana. Definitely worth it. And then there's my favorite card from my childhood with Sylvus Rogue Elemental, an 8/5 with trample that can regenerate. Yeah, no one badmouth this in the comments, it's my favorite. Next up there's Thriss Nantuko Primus, who's a 5/5 that can make someone 5/5 bigger. That's about it. And then there's Shizuko Collar of Autumn for anyone who wants to lose really quickly to their friends by giving them a lot of free mana. Next up we've got Myojin of Life's Web, who with a Divinity counter on it is amazing, can get all your creatures out of your hand into play, but good luck getting a Divinity counter on it because you have to cast it from your hand to do so. And then there's Sakiko, Mother of Summer, who's kind of like a Neheb, but for green, but just for creatures dealing damage. And yeah, mana hitting with creatures, that sounds like right up Green's alley. Next up, there's Autumn Willow, who has Shroud, but you can make her not have Shroud for one player. Woo! Next up, there's Glissa Sunseeker, who really hates artifacts if they're at a specific mana cost based on the amount of mana that you have in your pool. So yeah, good thing mana burn's not an issue anymore. And then there's Iwamori the Open Fist, who likes to pick fights with much more powerful creatures than him, and then he dies. Next up there's Shisato Whispering Hunter, who is for all those stacks players that always wanted to play mono green. And then Pure Imaginative Rascal isn't apparently very imaginative because at this point there's no Toothy involved because this is mono green. Don't play partner commanders without the partner, it makes no sense. Next up there's Jedit Ojinin of Afrava, who has Forest Walk and likes to make other cats with Forest Walk, but very slowly, so win slowly through cats. And then there's Kodama the Sentry, who likes spirits and getting spirits back, but mono green spirits, it's definitely a thing. Oh yeah. Next up there's Jukin the Rising Star, the worst of the 5 dragon spirits, and yeah, might be rising, but it's never going to catch up to the other dragons when it comes to actual use. And then Kodama the South Tree is also all about Spirit Tribal, but also Arcane Tribal, definitely a thing in mono green. Oh yeah, go for it. Next up, there's Anami Life Fast Spec. This is Spirit Tribal again in mono green. It's not a thing. And then there's Sasuke, Son of Shishiro, who gives your warriors kind of death touch, but like a delayed death touch, like, I poked you, and then like at the end of combat, you're like, oh, I'm dead. Next up, there's Ayumi the Last Visitor, who has Legendary Land Walk, so yeah, look out, all those players that are playing Gaia's Cradle. You're probably still going to win, because you've got Gaia's Cradle, and I've got just a 7/3. Next up, there's Lady Zurong, Warrior Queen, who has horsemanship, so yeah, there's no way you could ever catch up or stop or block her because she's on a horse. That horse has lightning speed. And then Bounteous, this is getting old. Okay, Spirit Arcane Tribal with life gain, and are you kidding? There's better commanders. Like Miri Cat Warrior, a first strike, Forest Walk, Vigilance, 2/3. You better not have a forest, because I'm going to kill you in 12 turns. And then there's Menghuao Barbarian King, who is yet another green creature anthem for 5 mana. So yeah, again, definitely worth that. Next up, there's Kodama the North Tree, who's a Voltron-style commander that really hates equipment. Yeah, you can't equip anything to it. Next up, there's Arashi the Sky Asunder, who has the sky in its name, but it doesn't have flying, but it hates things that have flying. So kill flying creatures, yay. And then Zausi the Mocking Sage mocks all your opponents for all their creatures that have horsemanship, because that's definitely a very popular thing. It can't be blocked, and it's going to hit them for 1 damage, so get ready. Next up is Gorm the Great, who would be partnered, but again, this is mono green, so please don't play non-partnered partner commanders. They miss their friends. And then there's Kazur. Okay, come on, everyone. Do not play partner commanders without their partners. They get lonely. And finally, there's Rafelis, Landmore Emissary, who is banned, but should not be banned, and that's just my opinion, but hashtag free Rafelis. Free Rafelos! And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your favorite green commander is and why. So yeah, let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks again, and have a good one.